This is the Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall.
Let's go nuts! It's Jimmy Nuts! Right out of the door!
With your hosts, Mark Martinez.
Because I'm the Mark, and I'm awesome!
The Guru.
Today I'm going to break it down for all you simpleton sweat hogs listening out there in Can Crusher Nation. I don't mean to come out here week after week and toot my own horn, but toot.
And the English Professor.
It is I, the English Professor from the County of Kings, speaking the English of the Queen.
Hey, this is former WWE superstar Duke, the Dumpster Drosy, and you are listening to the Can Crushers Podcast.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Guys, welcome back to Can Crushers, our weekly show. We are in studio. Well, two of the three of us are. I am your host, Mark the Mark. Sitting next to me, Chad, you shaved. You shaved a little bit, and we need to talk about that. But how are you, Mr. Guru?
This is a week. This has been a week. I'm alive, so that's a positive.
Yeah, that's a positive. We'll get there. And in his spacious, I don't know where you are, actually. I just know you're living a high life. He's in bathroom. I hope he's not in a bathroom. My God. The English Professor, how are you, you kind sir?
I'm doing all right. How are you guys?
Good. How was your week? Because I have a story. But let's go with you first.
Just very quickly, the week's a little stressful because I'm waiting on a lot of presents, and I don't think they're going to show up. I mean, for me, to my family, you're making this face like, well, who are you to expect a lot of presents? I'm waiting on presents for my family, especially my son, and I don't think they're going to get here.
Yeah, I didn't know. I don't know how it came, but just as I was letting the dogs out before Chad came in studio, 2 boxes got dropped off from my house. One Amazon box and one I have no idea where she ordered something, but we got a delivery today. That's Amazon too. I can see now that I can see the sticker. Yeah.
Yeah, Amazon delivers on Sunday.
I didn't know that.
Yep. When they ship it out like that, whatever UPS, whatever. FedEx,
DHL.
Yeah, they deliver on Sundays. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
until earlier this year.
Mine was today. Today years old.
Yep.
So
that would be Sunday, dumbass.
I know, but I'm just saying they say today years old on TikTok. I'm trying to be
that's
cool.
A thing now. Yeah. That's a hip thing that the kids are saying. I guess I could have had this stuff shipped a little quicker. I chose. I don't know what the hell it is. It's like FedEx Postal or something. Like FedEx sends it to the post office first, and you have to add extra time. You guys know me and shipping. I should not be such a tight ass. I should have maybe not had it overnighted, but not gone for the cheapest possible shipping method this close to the holidays during a global pandemic. Maybe that was a poor choice on my part.
You probably only ordered it yesterday, though, right?
Honestly, it's been about 10 days.
Oh, okay. So it was at least, so you're looking at the 10th-ish around that you ordered. So that should be far enough out.
I hope so.
You would think, but it's coming down to it. I know you're still expecting stuff. I still haven't gotten stuff that was ordered within the first few days of the month.
Jeez.
If that shit ain't priority or overnight or something like that, yeah, you're looking 2 weeks plus to get stuff.
Well, I dropped the ball on one, and the wife dropped the ball on the other one. She ordered a really cool custom coffee cup for her soon-to-be stepfather, and it's not coming until a couple days after Christmas. I finally broke down, and I couldn't figure out how the hell to design this ring that I wanted to get Kelly for the longest time. And I told her, here, listen, here's the spending limit. I don't want to pick something that you're going to be wearing and it looks like a garbage man made it out of tinfoil in a Rubik's Cube part. So she finally sat down and ordered it, and she's like, it's not going to be here by Christmas. I'm like, oh, well, you know you're getting it. She's like, yeah, I do, and thank you for letting me design it, because I showed her the one that Ethan and I wanted to design, and she gave me the cringe of death. She's like, I'm glad you didn't order that one. So I don't even know what she ordered, so I'm going to be surprised when it comes. She actually ordered it to go to Kay's Jewelry. This way, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. We'll go pick it up at the closest store instead of it getting lost or pillaged by some boogin here in town.
Yeah. I don't want to say this too loudly because I don't know if he's still in bed. Is he still in bed, Sharon?
His door's closed.
Okay, so it's I told you this, Mark, but it's a little bit of the bubbly figure.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it comes like in a champagne bottle packaging, a Chris Jericho figure with an AEW World Title belt. I'm trying to keep my voice down, and it comes with a catering table with like actual food on it. And I think it breaks. The table breaks, and he comes with a bottle of champagne that he can hold. I don't know that it's going to get here though.
Damn. We'll get on Chad's thing. I got one more thing. With me ordering the ring for Kelly, she's like, you didn't get the orders. I'm like, that's all right. She's like, you've been wanting a belt for the longest time. I'm like, yeah, I have. So we discussed, I brought up 3 belts that I really want. One's the NWA TV Championship. One's the European Championship.
Nice.
And then one is the WWF Championship, and I'm meaning the ones at the Hart Foundation, the Bulldogs, people like this square-looking one. So I'm torn between those 3. Well, Kelly comes in and looks, and she's like, save the NWA title, because that's something I want to get you as a surprise, is something when it's a big time. So, you know, our 5-year anniversary is coming up in a year and a half. Essentially, that's where I think she's going. By the way, you're going to hear WrestleFest, Dogfest in the background of today's show because they are insane today. And I'm not going to stop them. This is our Christmas addiction. Screw it.
Are they getting along?
Yeah. Too much.
Yeah.
Too much. So I'm thinking European or tag title. Chad said European last night. John, what do you say?
Boy, that's tough. Those tag team title belts that the Bulldogs and the Hart Foundation and Strikeforce had are pretty dope. I'd say the European Championship, though. I'd go that route, too.
All right. Decided. Yeah. I've always liked it, and our homeboy Al Snow was European champ one time, so that's another reason.
Yeah.
This is going to be a long intro session because wrestling's a little bit short this week. Chad, let's tell them what we did last night so we can actually dive into our lives and why you had to shave.
Oh, good Lord. So, we're making deer sausage last night.
Hundreds of pounds.
Hundreds of pounds of it. Everything, jalapeno and cheese, what the hell ever kind. And I got a smoker. Well, it kept going out. Couldn't figure out why. It has air, it has gas, everything's hooked up right. Well, it went out one time, and I just wasn't really thinking to...
Oh, boy, I think I know where this is going, but go ahead.
Turn down the nozzle, so when I, hit that nice little igniter, that it didn't just kapoof. Well, I didn't turn it down, and I hit that nozzle. And
you didn't close the door?
I didn't. It might have been a good thing that I didn't close the door. That could have blown up the door in my face. But, so, to borrow one of our favorite people's sayings, Chad's face went up like the Challenger.
It looked like Cornette or Fuji or anybody that threw fire at one point was standing in like the little hallway. Boom! Here comes.
We're not talking a small fireball with some magician's flash paper. No, we're talking somebody with a fucking blowtorch that shot a fireball from the fucking movies. So yeah. Anyway, not that anybody would care, but
I did.
Well. Yeah, you did. You were worried about the fucking meat.
I
You
was
weren't
not.
gonna.
I was more worried about you because you, right after your face is decaying like Kane, you're going back in, and I'm like, dude, you need to sit down and take a minute. I'm all right. He stands up, and literally, his arms are charred. You see that, and I'm like, oh, you might have got a little bit on your face. As he's washing up, you see that it's getting worse and worse. An hour into it later, we see like half of his beard is falling off because the hair has officially died. So he looks like a Jim Neidhart that lost half the razor. It was just a half a beard.
It was bad. No significant burns or anything like that. Actually, no burns at all. Thank God. I don't know what to say. My arms look like
Use Nair.
Yeah, I didn't have to. That's one. It's one way to get. There's shaving. There's plucking the hair out. There's, what the hell's the stuff? The bikini wax
Nair.
type and
Nair.
yeah, there's doing all that kind of shit. No, I just go for the flame. So I'm missing 3/4 of my eyelashes, my eyebrows. It looks bad, but you know what? Fuck it, I survived it.
We got it all done.
We got all this stuff done. The worst thing out of the whole thing is that my wife is now pissed at me because I've been growing the beard and mustache out for a year and a half, and yeah, that's all fucking gone.
Well, you got rid of the 2020 beard and mustache. You're going to bring the 2021 back in. It's going to bring more.
Oh, no, this was what I have right now is a perfect 2020 beard and mustache.
You look like you're going through puberty again.
Anyway. So,
that is such a great rural Pennsylvania story. I love it. I'm sorry that happened. I really am, but that is...
as a warning to everybody...
Well, let's preface this. What did Mark say 5 minutes before this happened?
Oh, yeah, and Mark's worried about the tank. We had it sitting on my basement landing right beside the cracked open basement door. And Mark was like, about having the thing in. He was like, oh, no, it'll be okay. Yeah, it'll be okay. I'm all right with it. Then,
yeah, but at first I'm like, maybe this isn't a good spot to put it. No, and you warned me. You're like, listen, it's for the airflow. This isn't, and I don't know the smoker that you have compared to some other ones. And I'm like, I don't know. You calm me down. 5 minutes later, Mr. Fuji's standing in the basement.
And if you look it up, anybody out there, look up the Ronnie Garvin fireball that Jim Cornette threw in his face. I made that shit look like fucking amateur hour.
You did.
Anyway, good to go. But on a side note, and I warned Mark I was going to do this if he brought this shit up. So one of the sausage stuffers, one of the the spouts that size for different things, it got clogged. So we decided let's switch to the smaller one. Well, Mark, I don't know. He looked like he'd been. What the hell, Hugh Hefner or something, grabbed this sausage thing because there was stuff stuck in it. A lot in it, and he blew it out. And I was like, holy shit, you look like you've had practice blowing your own meat.
You don't want to waste the meat that was in there. That's all I'm saying. And I have sausage fingers, so I couldn't get a finger down there. And God forbid you had... God forbid that you have anything that you could jam in there to get it out. All right.
So, yeah, there's our bag. We'll just add a fuck you, Pat, to it.
Yep, that's good enough.
One more quick fire story. When Mark and I were kids, we discovered that all the kids when we were teenagers had Banaka because we wanted to, have fresh breath and on the off chance we were going to make out with a girl. But we found out that if you had a lighter and you lit the lighter and then you sprayed the Banaka, it would go, and it looked like whatever. It looked like Jim Cornette or it looked like Hulk Hogan throwing it at Sergeant Slaughter. So we would, pretend to shoot fire at each other. But that just, I just wanted to tell that story, but it absolutely pales in comparison.
Oh,
It was just it just was a quick, like when you turn the stove on quickly and gas is built up and it won't come on, and then that's all the Banaka ever did. Not that it was safe and we should have been doing it, but that's all it did. This sounded like, it sounded pretty bad.
It was. Do they make Banaka anymore? Is that a thing?
I've not seen it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I loved it.
You were, yeah. All right,
Yeah.
We're a wrestling podcast, not a deer sausage or how to remove hair without going to barbershop.
Yep.
Ray Lynn would be pissed. You know,
Yeah.
you're taking clients away from her. Yeah, Bruce the barber.
Yep.
Let's start with NXT this week. Let's switch it up. Why not?
All right.
Because everybody was probably on their AEW notes. Let's switch with NXT.
I was, but that's all right.
Good. I liked NXT right off the bat. I finally watched it. I liked it. The first match was Kushida and Ruff against The Way. I didn't know they had a name, but they have a name now. Johnny and you're Andre the Giant guy.
Right.
First thing I got to say, and I know you sent me this early in the week. What the fuck? Ruff is going to kill himself.
Yeah.
Bouncing all over the ropes. And then when he flew outside the ring, one, I don't know if he hit anybody, but he took a bump.
Yep, he sure did. That looked really bad. It looked like he hurt himself. They don't do house shows anymore, guys. We've had this discussion. The territories aren't really there like they used to be, where a wrestler can work on his or her craft. People want to see bigger and better every week. I mean, this kid doesn't really have, at least comparatively speaking, all that much time to practice in a real environment. But he's got to go bigger every week. I worry he's going to hurt himself. I really do. From the standpoint of the match, I love The Way. I love Indy Hartwell. She plays her part just so well without even doing very much. And it looks like her neck's feeling better. The neck brace is gone. So I'm glad to see that. And, you know, my order of things, good, very good, great, special, Kushida's special. When you think about things you haven't seen before, he did sort of a reverse fisherman suplex. We all think of the perfect plex or Harley Race's suplex. It's from the vertical suplex position. He did it kind of from like a belly to back position type of suplex, but with the fisherman with the head hooked. I don't know. I wouldn't even know how to describe it. It was one of the most amazing pinning combinations I've ever seen. That guy's awesome.
It was another good match. What you expected from, like you said, they're just can appreciate the competitiveness to want to do more, do better, but it's getting way past the point of, oh, that's a cool spot, to who can do something without fucking killing themselves. And, you know, I'll bring up a simple thing, somebody that we know and respect, something very basic. You remember Sean Phoenix and his accident in IWC, a simple thing of jumping up in the turnbuckle and springing off onto somebody.
Yep.
Okay, if something like that can possibly go wrong, and look what happened to him, and thankful that he's still here today. Imagine these things where if the guy ain't, in the right place to catch you, off by a couple of inches or something like that.
It's too. I'm saying, and it's across the board. I'm thinking it's too much anymore. It really is. It's too much, and I mean, we're not rough fans, but we don't want to see anything happen to him. And I think it's sooner than later something's going to happen before he gets, his feet underneath him. No pun intended.
But you know what stands out for me in this match, and I need to mention this spot with Austin Theory, because we're talking about all these high-flying moves and the potential for danger, and what do you really get out of it other than another flip, which we've seen 1,000 times? Austin Theory had Leon Ruff pinned and Ruff kicked out. Now, how many times have we seen guys like Adam Cole will have either a surprised look or determined look, okay, now I have to beat this guy, which is great. He's using his face and his body language to tell a story. When Leon Ruff kicked out of that pin, Austin Theory laughed like, this kid kicked out. That's adorable. What an idiot. He should have stayed down. That is such a great character gesture on his part because he doesn't really have the room to be this cocky. He doesn't exactly have a great winning streak going. But the fact that his opponent kicked out and he laughed about it, that to me told the story of the match. That told me who the Way is.
Yeah, I agree. I like the Way. I really do. I'm glad Gargano has that title, but now that they have the Way with him and Austin and Indy and Candice, I don't know if I'm going to switch instantly again. I don't know if Gargano needs a title. Granted, I don't know who else to put it on right now, but I think these guys are going to do big things. I love it.
I'd like to see a bunch of titles in that group. I would. I'd like to see Candice with the women's title. I wouldn't mind them winning the tag team title and Johnny having 2 belts. Kind of like the Hart Foundation where they had everything but the big one until Bret Hart won that. I'd love to see this faction run with a bunch of belts.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about that with
predictions.
Ring of Honor and that.
Yeah.
And predictions.
Predictions for next year, which is going to be on next week's Crushy show. Yeah. Next matchup is Tyler Rust against Ciampa. Ciampa gets the win in a rough match, a rough, brutal match. I really like Tyler Rust. This guy, I think, is going to do something in NXT for a while. The story is Thatcher comes out in the middle of the match, kind of starts something where Ciampa goes downhill in the match for a little bit, but gets the win. But, man, I think Rust gets the win in this match for what he did.
Yeah, absolutely. He looked really good. I love this story. I love Ciampa coming out with Thatcher's T-shirt. Such a douchey move. Sets it on the chair, wipes his head with it, Everything he does is so subtle, but it says so much. And then he's got the intensity in the ring when he needs it. But as you said, Mark, fine match, good showing by Tyler Rust. Even in the beginning, again, I harp on body language, but Ciampa pointed to the T-shirt, and Rust just kind of nodded like, yeah, I see it. Like, that's not my business, get in the ring. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Really good stuff.
Can't add anything to it. Developing, and like we said, thank God this wasn't the last match between
during the pay-per-view. Yeah. We see Loomis drawing stuff all night and whatever. He's going to be the host of New Year's Evil. He's never spoken a word. I'm going to agree with the guys like Wade Barrett said. How the hell is he going to be a host if he doesn't speak?
I love this, though. This is the corny wrestling stuff that I love. We've seen Dexter Loomis. We know what he can do. How many times have we said it? If you show me what you can do in the ring, and he doesn't cut a promo because he doesn't say anything, but if you can cut a promo, we'll take some of the silly stuff. And the fact that he was, drawing that stuff for like an hour or however long it took him to draw that's funny. I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Match of the week for me, besides when we talk about 2004, match of the week for me, Kyle and Pete again. Just keep giving me this. I don't care if it's for the half a cup of coffee that I have left here. This was unbelievable. It makes it into, for me, match of the year candidate. This was phenomenal. And I don't want to say early in the show because we're roughly about the halfway point right now of NXT. Not a lot of matches, but they did everything they needed to do on NXT this week. And, man, I'm glad Kyle... This was kind of a reset to get it back to Kyle and Finn, where it started, How long has Finn been on the shelf? 90 days? About?
No, it actually hadn't even been that long. It was just over 30.
Yeah.
Then
it just seems long.
Yeah. But this is... if WWE wants to do fucking anything right off the bat, they need to just let these two, give these guys 45 minutes to an hour and just let them do their thing.
Yep.
This was awesome. Yeah, as you say, match of the year candidate. I love the beginning. where there's that huge brawl going on outside the ring, and those guys won't take their eyes off of each other in the ring. That tells you everything. Nothing else. The world could be crumbling around them. It doesn't matter. They are determined to beat the hell out of each other, come what may. And then the second the bell rings, boom, right into the action. Like they were just waiting to be told, like two animals, let them go and let them decide it. They did everything without making it look like they were taking turns to do everything. And that's the brilliance of these two guys. The mat wrestling, the joint manipulation, the hard strikes. Loved it. And then you get a clean win.
Yeah.
You get a clean win with two guys that are super over right now in a compelling storyline. Very good stuff.
Next up was Zaya and Boa. This gets sicker and sicker each week. Like, I mean, don't spend a ton of time on it, but she's just beating the loving shit out of him, and Master, I don't know, Sensei keeps saying, again. Wow.
Yeah.
They better do something with these two when they come out. If they don't, they're going to shit the bed on this month-long training process.
I was fucking expecting Mr. Miyagi to come out and fucking block her from kicking the ever-loving shit out of him, you know, do the whole Karate Kid, Cobra Kai bad thing and honk her fucking nose or something like that. But, holy shit.
That comes back in January. Cobra Kai. I can't wait.
Have you watched all of them?
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Absolutely. It's ridiculous that they show up on day one and 3 months later they're walking up walls and they can do anything. I don't care. I love it.
You're not there yet?
No. Not quite.
Better trainer, maybe.
Maybe. That's what it is. Yeah. This was brutal. You guys said it all. This was really, really sickening. This is probably more intense than Rick Steamboat's training at the Temple of Cheng Lao.
Oh, for
we
sure.
had to fight all those ninjas. Yeah. This is worse than that.
Another good match was Indy against Shotzi. Shotzi wins by DQ because Indy, the trophy that she just got destroyed. They beat the shit out of Shotzi at the end, but they're more concerned how the hell they're going to put this trophy back together. Stupid, yet perfect.
Agreed. Not much more I can add to that. That trophy was overnighted from Italy, and I don't appreciate what Shotzi said, that it looked like some sort of Little League trophy. First of all, we've discussed this. I give all my kids trophies at the end of every year for something they've done, not like you're all in first place. But if you worked on something and you showed me you worked on something and you got better at it, I get you a little something for it. That's not a Little League trophy. That looks like something that, you know, is made of some rare materials that came from Italy.
A troll doll? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right along the lines of Jackson Argos's trophies that he was giving himself as a 10-time Rookie of the Year and shit like that.
Speaking of trophies, guys, have you seen, we'll take a pause, have you seen that we are up for IWC Podcast of the Year? You still have time to head over to IWC.com and cast your vote. We're in there.
IWCWrestling.com. Just to be clear, IWCWrestling.com.
Yeah, IWCWrestling.com. We're against two of our friends. We really are. Any one of the three of us win, we're all going to be supportive. It's a Dark Match Podcast and the Eccentric Section. Both great guys, group of guys. Head over to IWCWrestling.com and vote for Can Crushers, though. They're great guys, but vote for Can Crushers. Podcast of the Year for IWC. We've had a ton of IWC people on. They've had IWC people on. It's great. Let's just see where we go from there. And it's an honor that Justin Plummer has made this for us.
Yeah.
Us.
Absolutely.
Us.
Yep.
The other guys are just there, but us. Cross comes back, and he gets a squash match against Desmond Troy. I'm going to take this a different way. Once you guys tell me what you think about the squash match.
It's like everything involved, like including Scarlett, or just the match itself?
Just the match itself.
It's what it was. Just a quick squash match.
Okay.
Nothing great about it.
Chad says yeah.
Good squash match. I personally wouldn't have had him do it, but that's me.
It looks to me like Karrion Kross is still maybe nursing something and they didn't want to do too much. If I took anything at all out of it.
Yeah. Yep, that's actually where I was going to go. I have something else that I'm going to talk about next week that it's going to be thrown on you guys at the end of the show. But, I was going to say the same thing about, do you think Cross is just still lingering? So you took care of that.
Yeah, it's probably a little too soon, I think. I was surprised to see him back and in a match. As for Scarlett, I've watched some of those, whether they're real, whether you believe in this stuff or not, like demonic possessions and exorcisms. And you wonder, some people say there's a certain level of whether it's hypnosis or mental issues that can kind of manifest themselves as these possessions. So you wonder, are they on the brink of insanity or are they really possessed by something? I wonder that about Scarlett. Is she just on the brink of insanity or has the devil really taken hold of her? Because she is unhinged and legitimately scary.
I love it. I love it.
It's fun. Yeah.
Toni Storm against Rhea Ripley. Storm wins, and what's up with Ripley? She's going to fight Gonzalez maybe one more time, but I think Rumble, we're going to see her in the Rumble, and she's going to be main brand. No, I mean, that's a prediction for next week, but I think they're just slowly getting Ripley out of NXT and pushing her to the front, even though the push is half-assed backwards.
For the sake of her career and some of the other guys and women we talked about on the show, I guess they want to get called up. I almost hate to see them get called up because they rarely do right by them. I love her on this brand. I really do. I see what you're saying. Maybe she kind of loses on her way out. I don't know if that's the case or not. What I took out of this is the old school feel of multiple feuds going on at once. And that's what I enjoy. She's a bigger woman in some feuds with some bigger ladies. And she's also got this going on with Toni Storm. I hope, selfishly, I hope she doesn't get called up because I'm enjoying her on this brand. And I think they can take their time with what's going on.
I agree.
Yeah, they need to do a much better job with her. I was kind of surprised to see her lose again. And, with this NXT run, but I think they're just nursing it along. As we'll talk about when probably the only thing that's good to come out of Raw this week, the problems that has arisen with Raw and their ratings.
Oh, yeah.
I'm hoping Vince pulls his head out of his ass and uses her right.
That's NXT. That was a quick, nice show. I really enjoyed the show. Probably best show for me this week, besides other things that I watch. Sometimes we don't cover, but the pay-per-view that we covered I loved. But we'll get there.
This is my favorite show. Again, I don't know what the numbers are. Maybe Chad took a look at that. I'll say it again. I think WWE hurts itself by the fact that NXT is on the network the next day or 2 days or 3 days later, whatever it is. And fans don't feel like they have to make a choice between the two brands, AEW and NXT. If this were head-to-head, I enjoyed NXT. I enjoyed AEW. I enjoyed NXT more.
Yeah, AEW did crush them, and that's another thing that's going to tie into our Raw discussion. It's not surprising when AEW beats NXT.
I don't think anymore. No.
Anymore, it's not. But now that AEW is significantly, we're not talking, a couple of thousand viewers, but they're beating both Raw and SmackDown in the ratings.
Yeah. All right, let's switch over to AEW. We can run through this, and then we'll loop up Raw and SmackDown as a whole. First match was Hangman Page and the Dark Order against, the Hardy Party. Yeah, I have to agree with Chad.
Same here. From the standpoint of storylines, guys, I think we like AEW because they take their time with things. At the same time, some things stall out. Like, I'm glad they're not going to get tired of something and just not do it anymore, like we see on Raw and SmackDown sometimes. But I wish they would hurry certain things up. Like, they asked Dustin Rhodes, hey, you want to join us? Pow, here's a smack in the face. That's my answer. Dustin can still turn sometime down the road. That's not to say that can't happen. but there is the beginning, middle, and end of that piece of the story on that day. But sometimes in AEW does things like this 6-man tag team match that just kind of flounders, and we don't get another piece of this story. Like Hangman said, I'm not going to join, but I'll team with you guys. Well, he teamed with them. So now where's this going? And then the story with Hardy, he's kind of being a dick. He kind of snuck in for the win when maybe one of the other guys should have had it. By the next time I see these guys, I better be told something else in the story. Hangman Page needs to say, look, I teamed with you guys. I'm done. Come near me again. I'm going to kick your ass. Matt Hardy needs to do something more dickheadish to show the heel turn coming. I need more pieces of the story. If we get more of this next week, then for me it's just flat.
Well said.
Yeah, I agree.
I can't add anything. We get the Rhodes family getting the president at the door. It's been all over social media, so we don't have to sugarcoat this. We at Can Crushers just want to say congratulations to Brandy and Cody Rhodes on their upcoming baby, and hopefully this gets Brandy off TV for a while. Because
jeez. Only you could take something like this and turn it into something like that.
First and foremost, congratulations. Hope for a healthy baby and everything. But, John, I'm with Mark on this. Please get her. This is somebody that needs to be off TV, and now we have a legitimate excuse other than you suck for her to be off TV.
Mouthpiece, I think she's really good. I think she can cut a promo. She's so well-spoken. Chief brand officer, executive officer, whatever it is she is, I'm sure she's very good at her job. Just bell to bell. There's a lot of talent in that division. She's not near the top of it by any stretch of the imagination. Just the opinion of 3 wrestling fans on this podcast. But congratulations. Fatherhood is great. Cody Rhodes enjoyed. I don't know, is this their first?
I believe so.
Yes.
Okay, that's great. Enjoy.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
We get a match with Cody and Angelico then. I hate Angelico. There is nothing. His strut annoys me. His 3/4 turn hat, flat brim shit. I was upset that this match took as long as it did, and then I was happy that Team Taz came out, and then Sting came out. But I wish it was anybody else than Angelico. There's nothing. He's in the Buck system with me, and
Wow. I enjoyed this match, actually, and I was thinking this just kind of was the tip of the iceberg. I would watch these guys on a pay-per-view. Not that they're going to wrestle at a pay-per-view where they are in their respective careers. That just wouldn't make sense. But I think these guys could put on a really good match. But obviously, the story you alluded to, Mark, was what happened after the match.
Yeah, after the match, I'll tell you what I think of the match. The only thing that I'm having a problem with this storyline with Taz and the 3 or 4 guys and Sting and everything. Okay, Darby's up in the fucking rafters. It's just Cody. And they're going to back down from Sting.
he's got the bat.
Because he's got a bat. Well, evidently, if in fucking War Games matches or sit-down interviews that every weapon and its mother is under the fucking ring or near somewhere, each of you grab weapons.
Anymore?
Sting may get one of you, but waffle that motherfucker with a chair. Pull out Triple H's hammer.
Have a fireball.
Have a fireball. I can show you how to do that. Just do something. I appreciate the first time they did it. It was like, holy fuck, it's Sting and backing down. But literally, they need to be kicking Cody's ass and have Sting come down there and throw some shots and everything like that.
That would have been better.
That was my point as well. Well said, Chad.
Absolutely. This just reminded me of, Ric Flair would tour the territories and win, get his ass kicked, but win. But particularly in Dallas, and I've been loving talking about Dallas. I don't know what it was. They just made him look like such a bitch. And here's the connection. It's like like Kevin might have the claw. And there was one time I can kind of remember like Fritz trying to pull him off saying, my God, let him go. You're going to kill him. They just made him look like such a bitch. That's what Taz and company looked like, backing down from one, 65-year-old guy. It just wasn't believable that they made him out to be this irresistible force. Exactly what Chad said. Let him make the save with the bat. Let him throw some swings, and that causes them to retreat.
Yep. I have a bitch here, and I'm going to stand up for the Young Bucks. December 20th, 2020, I'm going to stand up for the Young Bucks.
This year fucking sucks.
Why is Miro fined $75,000 for beating on one person when the Bucks did it for a month, super kicking Mendez or what the hell all those guys? They were fined $5,000. All right, maybe $5,000 a piece, so it's $10,000. Miro hits one person and it's $75,000.
That's ridiculous.
I'm defending both of them, but Miro got hosed on this.
Absolutely. That is ridiculous.
Yeah. Big wedding announcements, though, coming this week. You guys excited for the wedding?
I'm happy for them, yeah.
Good. Chad is on his phone. He could give two shits about Miro and this.
The only good thing Miro did this week was, and we'll talk about this, is something we're going to be adding to Can Crushers, the cameos.
Those are funny. Yeah. We're going to start sprinkling some cameos of wrestlers on the podcast. We'll say it right now since you brought it up. Every once in a while, we'll throw a cameo that we can grab that are free. I mean, more or less,
yeah.
they're to Chad, they're to whoever. But Jerry Lawler did one, and he talked for about 25 minutes showing this kid his house. They're hilarious. You know what a cameo is, John. You pay a wrestler to say something. They're funny. They're funny.
All right.
And you can grab them.
Yeah, you gotta look it up. There's some good shit. There's everybody on there minus WWE personalities,
Right.
Because Vince is a cockbiter. But there's guys on there from New Jack, which was entertaining, to The Undertaker,
Baron von
Raschke, who we thought was dead.
Oh, I did. I really did.
There's a lot. There's some good humorous stuff on there. There's some guys that put good effort into it.
And then there's guys that pull over alongside the road that, hey, this is so. Well, we're not going to say names right now. This is so and so.
But back to AEW.
So look for that next year. Not a year from now, just in 2021. Kingston comes out and cuts a promo about all his enemy. Do you start with God as being your biggest enemy? Is that the right thing to do? And we don't need to go all religious or anything, but do you say that God is your biggest enemy first?
Yeah, hit him with the big stuff. If that really is your biggest enemy, you can argue, like, where do you go from there? But I think that just shows you, like, this guy's lot in life, you know? It says something about his character.
Okay. Then he mentions Pac, that he's nowhere to be found. And before he's done saying the R in Archer's already in the ring. I think somebody was a little bit too excited to come out to the ring and lay waste to Eddie Kingston because he's like, Archer, boom, here comes Lance. I like this, though. And then Pac does come back out. My issue with this is Pac and Archer get in each other's face, but as it turns to go to commercial, they're having a beer and a pierogi together, just one pierogi. They're just like, hey, 2 seconds later, they're like, I'm going to fucking kick your ass, or I'm going to do this. Nope, instantly. They're on the same page.
I like this for some reason. I'm still a little confused who the good guys and bad guys. I feel like the Lucha Brothers are good guys at this point after the way Eddie Kingston's crew treated them. But you can't convince. Lance Archer does some babyface stuff in there when he comes out, and that's what he's been doing. But you can't convince me he's a good guy as long as he has Jake the Snake Roberts in his corner.
You can't convince me that Pac's a good guy when he's called a bastard.
Right. Yeah.
The only good guy bastard is me. That's it.
Right. That's it.
I'll agree.
we don't have to really touch on a 12-man match because it was rough.
It's what it was.
Yeah.
I don't know that anything even really came out of it. This just goes back to what I was saying earlier. If you're going to keep featuring people, tell us at least a small new piece of the story. Otherwise, why bother?
The one thing with the 12-man match that we get tag on an offshoot of it is there's come out the people, talents bitching about what Jim Ross said about the, everybody does a fucking dive and blah, blah, blah. There was an anonymous wrestler that agreed with Ross, and it was odd that Wardlow, I could see Wardlow, and we talked about this last night, could see Wardlow being the one that has, would say that. And if I just find it odd. I have some of Wardlow's family on Facebook from his days in IWC and posts they like and commented on that had Vinny in it and stuff like that. I haven't seen anything on there as far as a family issue. So I'm wondering, did he get
hosed for this?
Did he get, his hands slapped for this? On the other side, Brandon Cutlet.
Oh, the piece of meat?
Yes, cutlet. If you look it up in the dictionary, it says a meaningless piece of white meat.
Okay.
Which is Brandon Cutler. It gave them an excuse to get him the hell out of the match.
Yeah. Next up, Thunder Rosa's talking and Britt attacks her. This is great. This has Britt in 5 stars written all over it.
I totally agree. I cannot wait to see where this goes.
What a little bitch.
And we love it.
She does it so well.
SCU against the Acclaimed with the Bucks watching from ringside. I think I'm over SCU as a team. I like Kazarian. I know Scorpio Sky is still kind of linked with them, but not as much anymore. Christopher Daniels is, he's long in the tooth for me. I don't see him, I don't like him prancing around like Freddie Mercury. I really don't. I think he needs something else. Go back to Hot and Spicy, the guy when he wore a mask in TNA or whatever the hell he was. He was Suicide as well. I just think that he needs a change. The Acclaim gets an upset win and challenges the Bucks next week for the title. John, did you like this?
I thought it was a good match. I thought SCU probably was going to win. I think still the Acclaim winning was probably the right move. I get what you're saying about kind of being over SCU. I like them as a team, but they've been there, done that, and at the moment, it seems like their job is to put over the other team, which is unfortunate. I think they're better than that. Yeah, where do they go from here?
That's it.
Yeah, I can't. You guys kind of hit everything on that.
Next matchup. Well, Top Flight was talking, and then they challenged MJF and Jericho for next week. It was kind of answered already. It's going to happen. Nothing much.
A lot of rapping on this week's show, too. There was a rap battle in this match. There's a rap battle when we get to our pay-per-view later.
Yeah, a lot of rapping.
Yeah.
Or a rap of fireballs, yeah.
Yep.
Diamante and Ivelisse against Swole and Deeb. Swole and Deeb get a win, I guess, with the champion. They brought up a lot of Dean Malenko in this. I don't know. I don't know. Nyla comes out, and then Red Velvet, the smallest woman in wrestling, makes the save. I think Nyla could eat her as an appetizer.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there was a long commercial break during this match.
Yeah.
Honest to God, I'm trying to remember one thing that stood out about it. There definitely was some talent, especially when we talk about Ivelisse and Diamante as a team. But I'll be darned if I can remember, like, a part of it. I hate to say that.
I don't have many notes. It was, I thought this tag team of Diamante and Ivelisse, they just, a couple months ago, they won that women's tag division thing, and They got a nice victory then over it was the Rosa and Sheeta, and then we haven't seen them again on Dynamite for a while. It's almost like that tournament is like, all right, we're over with it. We're not going to mention that they won it anymore. I mean, it's just, I don't know where they're going with them. They're doing a lot of stuff on Dark. They really are. But I don't know how many people are diehard to watch Dark every week.
Yeah. They beat Brandy Rhodes and somebody else once, too. Let's not forget about that.
Oh, the Bunny.
Oh, yeah.
Is that really? Was that? Yeah, I think.
When the Bunny was still good.
Right.
Yeah.
A few promos with the Best Friends and Jurassic Express, and then FTR bitching about the tag division. If you want to say anything, here's your shot on all of that, but whatever.
Yeah.
Nothing. And then we get to Chad's favorite match of the week, Joey Janela with Sonny Kiss against Kenny Omega. Chad, how could you pick a winner in this?
From the beginning, before Joey Nutella came out, and I hate John for this. I curse at you, John. Every time Sonny Kiss comes out, all I can remember is John's words about, I don't go that way, but Sonny Kiss has got a nice ass.
When did he say that?
He said that on a pay-per-view, and I'm like, I hate you, John, every time that guy comes out like that. The match, the best thing about this match was that, well, two things, honestly.
The ending.
I'll surprise you. That it fucking ended. And the afterwards interview where Don Callis and Twinkle Toes McFingerbang were over harassing the announcers, and Callis tells Shivani, give me your mic, and Shivani just looks at him, kiss my ass, I'm not giving you my mic. That was the best thing about this match.
Tony going off, I agree. I'll let you say your piece, John. Are we going to have Omega just go through the tournament of people? That's what I feel is going to happen. Omega is going to end up actually beating everybody in the number one contenders tournament, and it rolls back around to him and Paige one more time. Because, no disrespect to Rey Fenix, he's a great athlete. He's a great wrestler. Come on. He's not going to carry the torch for AEW. So on the 30th, we're going to see him get his ass beat by Omega too.
Go ahead, Chad.
We're going to see a good match, thankfully to the opponent. That Callis is going to interfere. I don't know, maybe play the music from that dance movie, with
Dirty Dancing?
the finger, spirit finger shit. So Kenny Omega, Hulk Hogan's up and fucking beats him or whatever.
What fucking movie are you talking about?
Oh, that fucking dance movie where they, high school dancing, where they hired a professional to help them win the competition, and he taught both schools the same shit, spirit fingers and that. Anyway, but that's about where I am with those guys. It's just building up. He's going to go through people. My only question: where the fuck's Moxley? Where?
Yeah.
Why?
Let's not sugarcoat. He deserves a break.
Yeah.
But at least cut a promo. All right, John.
That guy doing commentary, what the hell's his name? That just was so irritating. Callis, yeah. Oh, my God, was that irritating. It was a good match. It was a fine match. I just, it dawned on me during the course of this match, because we saw the Young Bucks earlier. They were challenged for the tag team title. How does Chad feel about this? Look at the top guys in the company. World champion Kenny Omega, world tag team champion the Young Bucks.
He's excited.
This is what AEW is.
He's excited.
Oh, yeah. I think I'd rather take a fireball to the nuts and watch these fuckers
I'm
wrestle.
not making sausage that way. All right. AEW as a whole, I think it was a step down a little bit this week from NXT, but not a horrid show, but not one of their best.
It had its moments. Again, some stuff just needs to be sped up a little bit.
All right, John, I see you're wearing your Macho Man Al Snow and head collar and elbow shirt, and let's hear about some of collar and elbow. What do we have?
we have, well, what do you need? Hats, hoodies, T-shirts. He's even gotten into clothing that goes below the waist. Am I correct in that? Like sweatpants?
Yep.
Yeah, so whatever you need, you can dress literally, well, head to ankle. I don't think he's into shoes yet, but
Or socks. Or socks.
Or socks, yeah. But head to ankle, you can absolutely dress in collar and elbow gear. As you mentioned, I have my Macho Man Al Snow and Head T-shirt. I love it. I put it on this morning, and I'm telling you guys, it feels good, and it makes you feel good on the inside about yourself because it accentuates all the good spots. And it encourages you. I see myself in this shirt, and I'm like, I got to get back to the gym. Damn it, I'm looking good. I'm not looking as good as I think, but it's mostly because of Al Snow's shirts. They fit you just right, and they make you feel good about yourself.
I thought when John was saying, below the waist or whatever, that, I mean, we had talked to Chad Miller. I know you had mentioned that Al Snow was coming out with, Al Snow's Depend undergarments. I thought that's where the fuck he was going.
I did too.
I was like, oh, holy shit, did they break those out?
John got a pair already.
I have my camera on. Look at that.
Look at that. Look at that.
And it's the T-shirt that really does it.
It does accentuate
it. Hugs the right spots.
Spark?
The right parts.
Sparks? What? Fuck that.
Al Snow also has burn cream coming out, Chad. He's sending you a case. And if you guys want to order any of this, it's at collarandelbow.com. Burn cream not included. And we have a promo code. It's Can Crushers, all one word, capital C in Can, capital C in Crushers, and you'll get 10% off. If you believe anything we just said, please go to Collar and Elbow and check it out. You'll know that we're a bunch of fucking liars. But the clothes are amazing. There's no debate.
Really are. They really are. It's good stuff. It's fun stuff. If you're a wrestling fan, you're going to love their gear, I promise.
There's no burn cream, there's no Depends, but here comes Al Snow.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
This is the vivacious, vicious Vicky. If nobody knows who I am, I feel so bad for you. But with that being said, take a seat, because you're listening to the Can Crushers podcast. Stay tuned.
And welcome back to Can Crushers. We just heard from Al Snow over at Collar and Elbow. It is I, the English professor, joined by your host, Mark the Mark Martinez, and Chad, the glorious guru. So we've been over NXT and AEW. Guys, let's talk about the main brands, Raw and SmackDown. Who took what from where?
SmackDown, as I said, I didn't. We're just going to put it all together, guys. SmackDown was the go-home show for tonight, for the pay-per-view. From what I read, it was mostly what I took out of it. Sasha and Carmella and Roman and,
Kevin Owens.
Yeah, and Owens is getting set up, more or less. And we're not going to break down matches or anything, but I don't know. Raw, I can't remember a damn thing. I got notes right in front of me. So I think Chad's going to bring something to the table. I think Raw was lackluster.
It really was. The only thing I want to say about it is the Miz's show, it kicked off with the dirt sheet. I don't get what they're trying to do with these shows. I don't know if they're just trying to see what sticks. But guys, and maybe I've mentioned this on the show, if you tuned in at such and such a time, you saw Piper's Pit every week without fail. If you tuned into the evening show, maybe you saw Jesse the Body's Body Shop, or you saw Jake Roberts' Snake Pit. You can count on those interview segments on those specific shows. I don't know, sometimes we get The Miz doing his thing in the ring with Morrison. Sometimes we get the dirt sheet. Sometimes we get a King's Court once in a while. You don't know what's coming or going. If you're going to have a talk show, have a talk show. Let us get used to that segment and where it is in the show. All these people, Alexa Bliss used to have a show, and Sami Zayn had a show until he mentioned AEW, which was freaking hot. That got a genuine reaction from the crowd. Have an interview segment if you're going to have an interview segment. There's just no rhyme or reason or consistency to anything they're doing on these brands, especially Raw.
Miz hosts the Dirt Sheet and Miz TV.
Miz TV, I couldn't think of it. Yes,
just call it all Miz TV. What do we need to break it down into? Yeah, I agree. I think one per show is perfect. And if Bliss is hot right now with her moment of bliss,
she's always hot.
She is. Yeah, I meant with the talk show. If she's hot right now, run with that for a month or so, and then transition it. Don't have, because there's some shows that there's 4 on one 3-hour show. And those talk shows sometimes are really long and don't explain anything.
Yeah. Yep. But the days of Piper's Pit from 1984 to 1987, and then he brought it back when he came out of retirement, those days are over, right? You're not going to have a moment of bliss run for 3 years.
No. Or set up shit like Piper's Pit or the Snake Pit or the Body Shop. Those set up classic matches.
Yeah.
These are setting up not even a main event on Raw. These are setting up, next is John against Chad for the Superhero fucking Cup. Great.
You saw my cup.
I did. So this is what Chad has to bring to the table, because that's Raw and SmackDown in a nutshell, right?
In a nut house, yep.
In a nut house.
Yeah, it's fucking nut house. That's about it.
We didn't watch SmackDown because we watched ROH, and we'll brief on that in the third segment, or maybe after this pay-per-view quickly. But Chad, what's up with WWE? You have a tidbit here we're going to talk about.
These shows, 5 hours of shows, and I would bet you had 20 minutes of in-ring action. Is it surprising? We did this, study last year. John and I actually did timing and stuff. It's not surprising. But these shows suck. There's nothing to them. You have the stars there, but it's so scripted. It's so bad. And it brings me to the thing that come out, and I said this was going to fucking happen. Vince has gotten so comfortable with USA, their ratings suck. Because people don't, it's not that people have something else to do, or there's something else on, a big Monday Night Football game, big basketball game, whatever. People aren't fucking watching Raw.
No. Their highest rated show right now on USA is CSI SVU. And they're repeats.
And USA has come out. It's come out. I told Mark about it. It come out on WrestleZone. It's on a couple other sites. USA executives are pissed about the ratings. They're dropping. Raw is routinely in the key demographics and overall dropping below 1 million viewers. You're investing 3 hours of prime time, and the only fucking thing that interrupts it, I think, is if there's a national emergency or something like that.
The dog show.
The dog show, which is a national emergency.
It is
these days. They've put WWE on notice that the ratings need to improve, and they want edgier content. Now, they've gone on the record and said, we don't want to, TNA, but we want to get more of the adult audience
violence
involved, edgier stuff. And that's great. But will this change? It was a year ago when everybody in the McMahon family, you know, from Triple H's kids and Stephanie's kids, and everybody was in the ring, and we hear what you're saying, and we're going to give you what you want. Well, if I wanted to take a big shit, I'll go take an enema, and that's what the wrestling has been.
And what was their solution? The McMahons will be more involved. What good did that do? How involved were they? And B, what did their involvement even accomplish? They've given up on that stupid underground thing where Shane bumps chests with everybody and that guy stands outside the door. No, you can't go in. Please? All right, that's the magic word. Go ahead. Just the dumbest shit. It's not even worth
DVRing. It's not even worth DVRing anymore. It really isn't.
R-Truth is an absolute. I go on this maybe not every week, but more often than not. He's an absolute insult. An absolute insult. It's just so stupid. Nobody can be that dumb. Why is he so dumb all of a sudden? It's because it makes Vince laugh.
All right, I got a cup of coffee. I got a new cup of coffee. Let's bring it to 2004 Great American Bash. This was their first Great American Bash. What?
Yeah, just very quickly.
What?
Speaking of, this is connected. Speaking of coffee, I went to my old stomping grounds yesterday. I went to pick up a couple of bags of coffee, and I didn't. There was one bag there. It was a geisha coffee, which typically comes from a region of Ethiopia called Geisha. But since then, business people have taken that seed and taken it to different parts of the world and planted it in different countries because it's such a unique coffee as far as flavor profile goes. 4 ounces, $28. I didn't buy it.
Oh, good Lord.
$112 a pound. But I got 2 other bags. One of the guys I saw there that knew me said, "Hey, did you pick up the geisha?" I was like, it looks amazing, but no thanks. He threw it in my bag and said, "Merry Christmas, you need to try this." I'm like, "You don't have to do that." He goes, No, try it. So I have a geisha coffee that I need to try. I bring that up because this pay-per-view you were just mentioning, Mark, has a geisha in it.
It does. It will get there. That's a long ways around to a nice segue, but all right.
I wanted to brag about $112 a pound coffee. Go ahead.
My God, your taste. Don't get me wrong. When I'm over the English professor's house, the coffee is so much better than my Keurig 2 cent. Like, by the time he got done describing that, my coffee is done, and
right.
I'm a little bit first time in a long time. I'm a little bit in the seasonal mood. I bought peppermint creamer. I'm doing creamers in December. Well, now that December is almost over, I got a peppermint one. I think it tastes good.
I was just going to say, can you taste it yet?
The other day, I think it was Friday or something, I'm sitting here playing NHL hockey, and I get a waft of cinnamon, and I asked Ethan if he was burning a candle or something. He's like, no, we couldn't find cinnamon. I found out that my wife put like a couple cinnamon sticks in the tree. Yeah, that was for about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Couldn't smell anything else. And now making sausage yesterday, couldn't smell that. Kelly's like, "Can you smell cinnamon?" So she stuck it up my nose. I couldn't smell it yesterday. So nonetheless. But I think my smell is coming back. The taste is, if I lost the taste the rest of my life, I don't know what I'm going to do.
I used one of your methods to see what my condition was, or to kind of get an idea. Like, you were biting into onions, taking spoonfuls of horseradish, and nothing. I had a touch of scratchy throat, and I thought, oh geez. But I took the mustard out of the kitchen and kind of held it under my nose. I was like, oh wow, okay, yeah, I'm good. I can smell the mustard.
I thought you were going to say you put a pinch of snuff on your tongue, but
no.
All right, 2004 Great American Bash from Norfolk, Virginia. Chad's there. This is a SmackDown brand pay-per-view, because this is when they divided them. Michael Cole and Taz are on the call, and Chad, you were there.
Yeah, in the summers back then, I was stationed in Virginia for 7 years, and I would bring my nephew down. Well, they just happened to be having this pay-per-view, and I was like, "Hey, bud, you want to go to it?" yeah, that'd be cool. They didn't have really matches announced. They were just going to have it. So I got tickets to it, not, we'll just go and see and, maybe see ourselves on film and everything like that. Film.
Jesus, all right.
We'll see ourselves on the replay or whatever, and you can actually, in a couple of parts, they pan us because we were sitting first level, first row above floor seating. So we had, fucking great seats. This was a really good pay-per-view.
We'll give our ratings, but there's some ups and downs, but it's a really good pay-per-view. First match was for the U.S. title. It's a fatal four-way match between John Cena, Booker T, RVD, and Rene Dupree. First thing I have to say, Renee's dog is not Matilda. No effing way is this dog as good as Matilda. Get it off TV.
I'm with you, yeah.
But, good match. I really enjoyed this match. First and foremost, I think maybe this was my a little bit of a break from WWE at this time. I don't remember anything. And you know how I remember spots of stuff and not as much as you guys, but I don't remember the main event, the Crypt match. I'm not a damn thing of this. So I was thoroughly entertained in this pay-per-view. And Cena, I miss his raps. I really do miss his raps. I miss John Cena.
I went into this pay-per-view knowing nothing about anything. I didn't know a single match that was on it. I didn't know a single storyline. I had been wrestling free for years at this point and would continue to be for years to come. I was completely out of the loop. I knew who three of the guys were. I had no idea who Rene Dupree was. I'd never seen him or heard of him before this match. To your point, Mark, the rhymes was dope as hell. He was crazy over. I don't know if it was because of the military presence in the audience or if John Cena was that over, but man, were they crazy for him. Excellent match. You can have two guys in the ring doing good stuff and one or two guys outside the ring if you tell a story, and the story was just Booker T's like, I'm going to hang out. I'm going to pick my shots. And that made the most sense. I like the fact that it was elimination, too, and not just one pinfall wins. It takes away, but it also adds to it. Taz made a great point. John Cena got a pin. And so he said, the bad part of the one pin and done is if the champion's not pinned, he still loses. But now where this hurts him is he made a pin, the match should be over, but he still has two opponents left. So great storytelling by Taz. Good stuff just across the board. Booker T was awesome. That Dupree guy could draw heat just by prancing around. So much fun. The USA chant. Good stuff. Really, really good stuff all around.
Dupree, and I can't remember, we talked about this last night. He was with another sympathizer. And they were a tag team.
Resistance?
Yeah. And they had a decent run as tag team champions back then. This was a really good match. From in person, what I remember, the crowd reactions when Cena come out. Oh my God, he was, it was the booing and the deep booing. But then when I watched it on the network, it just wasn't as loud, wasn't as deep, and I was like, okay. Bastards, they played with it and that. But just the reaction, there was nobody sitting when he come out. Whether you were cheering, whether you were booing him, when he come out, you were standing.
I liked the way they told the story with this, and run through it real quick. I was happy RVD was out first. I like RVD. I do. I liked him more in ECW, but him going out first, cool. You're keeping the Heat guy still in there and Dupree, and then he gets knocked out by Booker T, and then you get the real match of this. Booker and Cena's part in this match was phenomenal. It really was. These two could work a broom, and that's not a shot at Kenny Omega or anything like that, but these two working together were great. I love this.
Yeah, and just when you thought, oh, that guy's been out there for too long, Rob Van Dam goes out and gets him. And it makes sense. Like, son of a bitch, you're not going to stand out here the entire time. Get in the ring and fight if you want this. So just when you think someone's out there too long, somebody goes out and gets him. Every part of this match made sense. The order of the eliminations, really, really good match.
Next up, we get interviews, so if you guys want to talk about any interviews, chime in, but I'm not going to bring them all up. Next matchup is Luther Reigns with Kurt Angle. He made this match because Charlie Haas said something to him, so Charlie Haas comes out with Jackie, and now I finally know who is going to be sitting at the head of the table at some point. Luther Reigns is going to come out and challenge Roman Reigns.
Oh.
He's the only one, because The Rock is not going to be able to wrestle for a while. So Luther Reigns, the original Reigns, is going to come back and take on Roman Reigns. Not at all. But it would make sense. It could make sense. No? You guys are both looking at me. Chad's disgusted with me. Luther was an intense guy. Oh, my God. There's some guys that I don't even know who the hell they were. Like I said, I was tapped out for a little bit. I have no idea who the hell Luther Reigns was. This was just what it is. They were building Luther up, and he squashed Charlie.
In person, it was exactly that. Haas bounced off of him. He took a beating. Glad to see, on an off note about Charlie Haas making a comeback in wrestling. Has had some substance abuse.
Demons, we call them.
Demons. And that over the past couple of years, but he's making a comeback in wrestling, looks decently healthy, so kind of glad to see him back. I can't remember a tag team I don't even, as much as I love FTR and the Good Brothers, Benjamin and Haas is a tag team. That was a real tag team. Yeah. Those were real wrestlers there.
Reigns struck me a little bit kind of like, Jake the Snake's guy on AEW.
Archer.
Really?
Lance Archer.
That fast, you forgot his name.
Jesus. Yeah. Well, once a week, I forget somebody's name, at least one person's name. No, that level of intensity and just like coming straight at you kind of style. I thought Yankees third baseman Charlie Hayes did a nice job of so I can't even get through that. He had a nice comeback. That honestly made me believe, shout out to the 96 Yankees, honestly made me believe he had a chance of pulling it off an upset, because I could see then Kurt Angle really getting pissed off and saying, now take it out on him, and the guy gets beat up even worse after the match. It was a good enough comeback that I thought he had a chance to win. But this was another really good match. It told a good story, even though it was a little one-sided. Kurt Angle's advice from the outside, and again, credit to the commentary team. You have a gold medalist, one of the greatest wrestlers in the world, giving you advice. Love it. Good stuff. Really, really good stuff, even though it was a little one-sided.
Next match is Rey Mysterio versus Chavo Guerrero for the Cruiserweight Championship. I don't know how this was a match of the year for 2004. This match was everything. After I watched it, I gushed to anybody that I could talk to about it. Did you see the 2004 match at Great American Bash? Unbelievable. We're going to do no justice talking about this match. Go back on the WWE Network and watch it. I'll give you guys your props to say whatever you want to, but these guys, as much as I love the first match, this was my match of the night, even with what's to come.
I love the Guerreros. I always have. And I'll confess, I haven't seen a lot of Chavo's stuff, but what I have seen, I've always enjoyed. To your point, Mark, everything you just said, this was match of the night. I think these guys could work together with their eyes closed and put on a 5-star match. I love his entrance. I love the, ooh, Chavo. I enjoy that. My son, he's got this game. It's a few years old. it's where, like, you had to go through the moments. Like, you could do whatever you want. You could have a 30-minute Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant match, but you had to have the spot where Andre backdropped him on the floor, and then you have to do the slam at the end. I don't know which WWE game that is. But while he was getting the hang of that, he would do these ridiculous matches, like Undertaker and Big Show versus Chavo Guerrero. He just singled out Chavo Guerrero because he was the smallest guy. And it pissed me off. But Chavo would, like, beat him. He'd beat both of his guys because my son didn't have the hang of the game yet. All I had to do, because he would get so mad, I would just go, ooh, Chavo. He would explode.
I remember those years.
Punching me in the balls, and, oh, he'd make him so mad. I love Chavo Guerrero, though. And I tried to explain, like, I'm not just doing it to piss you off, even though I was. I would be like, no, I really love Chavo. I do love Chavo. I was pulling for him in this match, even though I'm a big fan of Rey Mysterio. What can we say about the match? Just the timing, the execution, the pace, about as perfect as it gets.
When you let two great wrestlers do their own thing without interfering, without putting your stupid fucking humor and shit in it, this is what happens. A great match.
Yeah, they knew each other. They grew up and everything. Yeah, unbelievable. Next up, Kenzo Sasaki versus Billy Gunn. I don't know Kenzo at all. How long was he lingering around WWE? He could have been something. He really could have, I think. And, he wins with a low blow, and I'll see you maybe some other time in 2004 when we do a replay, because I don't remember you, dude.
I have no idea who this guy was. A lot of potential. He came out like the Macho King, being carried to the ring and by 4 scrubs and then set down. Man, the potential was there. I just feel like the story of this guy had been told to some extent, not to sound whatever or lump all Japanese or all Asian wrestlers together, but this, silent assassin, great Muda, great Kabuki, Hakushi, et cetera, type character. We've seen it before. This guy, frankly, wasn't as good as those guys I just mentioned. Worst match of the night for me.
No way. Take that back.
Worst men's match.
Okay.
Always been a Billy Gunn fan. Just for the character, the personality. Never thought his matches were terrific. But this is where we get the geisha. Usually they're a little more reserved, a little quieter. This one had some sass. She was sassy Molassy the way she's walking out there fanning herself, and they had a match on SmackDown where she blew dust or something into Billy Gunn's eyes. So this was the rematch. Again, decent character. We've seen it before, just not as good as the other half dozen people who did the same character.
Yeah, he pretty much stole everything I was thinking. To highlight the thing of it was he didn't have the, I don't want to say the it factor that others, but he wasn't a Kabuki, he wasn't a Muda, he wasn't even as good as the one that had fake tattoos, that Hakushi. He wasn't even as good as a wrestler as he was.
He wasn't as good as Tenzai.
Well, that's not saying a lot. Yeah.
Which was Prince Albert, if you didn't know. We do get a segment. We'll talk about the Paul Heyman and Paul Bearer. He's got him tied up in the back, getting ready for the concrete crypt match and stuff like that. Paul looked like he was in pain with that piece of string in his mouth, because it was no bigger than a piece of yarn, and it looked like it was cutting every vital organ off instantly. Paul Moody could sell. That's where I'm getting to. But at least put a bandana over his mouth or something. This piece of thing looked bad.
Well, it was between like his, third
fat rolls,
his third chin.
Right.
Yeah, he looked bad, slumped down in a chair with, gagged, and those binds, the ropes that even had his hands in that, those things look I mean,
vicious.
I was going to say super tight, but I can't even fucking say that. I think Vinny could have worked himself out of those.
That was bad.
I've come and gone with The Undertaker as far as being a fan of certain incarnations of his. I always thought, whether it was Percy Pringle or Paul Bearer, he's just too much. Just not believable. I'm sorry. Yeah.
It looked bad.
Yeah.
Next up, as match-wise, we have Hardcore Holly against Mordecai. At first, when he came out, I'm like, holy shit, he's got Drew McIntyre's sword. Then I actually noticed it was a cross. But I think they took the top of his cross and made that is Drew McIntyre's sword. Go back and look at it, I'm telling you. And anytime I think of Mordecai, I think of Children of the Corn. So this guy didn't have...
That was Malachi, but still.
Okay, close enough. He didn't have much of a chance with me. He really didn't, because I was thinking of Children of the Corn the whole time.
I agree to your point about Drew McIntyre. It seems like, I don't know if those guys were wrestling at the time, McIntyre, and his God damn it, his Irish buddy,
Sheamus.
But this guy seemed like a cross between Sheamus and the Scottish psychopath Drew McIntyre.
And Mordecai. Malachi.
Malachi. Yeah, it's those three combined.
Yeah. This match was my worst match. Well, worst men's match of the night.
Yeah.
Horrible. Sparky Plug. God. Or which one was it? He was Sparky Plug at this time, right? I probably said Hardcore Holly. No, I don't fucking know. I hated every incarnation of Bob Holly.
I did too. Yeah, I was not a fan.
Nothing.
The Hardcore Holly thing became sort of like, at the time, late 90s, a shoot, a quote-unquote shoot, like, hey, I'm done with Sparky Plug, this is the real me, which is a ground and pound, mat, hardcore type wrestler. And maybe that's really who he was. I guess people who know him, Chad, you've told the story from the Tough Enough show. I mean, he worked people over, but I just don't know that he had the large personality you need for professional wrestling.
The best match I ever seen him in, and I only really liked his, was one year they built him and Brock Lesnar up, and Lesnar had a title. This was before Lesnar lost it to Guerrero, and they built it up, and he took everything fucking Lesnar could throw at him. And Lesnar was a lot more into his matches. It just wasn't, suplex, talk shit, 500 suplexes, talk a little bit of shit, wipe your brow, look at your, plastic wife in the fucking McMahon booth type Lesnar match. But it was I just remember Holly from that match as a good physical match. And I remember when he got his back split open going through that table, when you see the, don't do this at home things, you have a guy standing facing towards the ring and you see his back is busted open. That was Hardcore Holly. Ripped his back from, up in his shoulder area, pretty much down to the very small of the back on a table.
Ass crack.
No, he wasn't quite that low. That was Billy Gunn.
Sparky Plug was in St. Mary's. You guys remember that?
Yeah, against, don't tell me, Jeff Jarrett. Yep.
All right, next
Night of Champions.
He was at Night of Champions at IWC, too, that you can see on the IWC network for only $9.99.
Cheap plug.
Right. Next matchup is JBL against Eddie Guerrero. Bull Rope
against Bastion Booger. Sorry. Jim Powers wrestled Jeff Jarrett. Sparkplug Holly wrestled Bastion Booger that night. Sorry, continue.
Okay. JBL against Eddie Guerrero, bull rope match for the WWE title. And I've told both of you this on two separate occasions, one day and one the next day. This was the shortest bull rope I've ever seen in my life. It was about 4 feet long compared to the 20 feet bull ropes. Thus, it kind of made it more believable for me. I mean, this was a great match. Don't get me wrong. I loved everything about this match. The lights in the corner. Why don't we do that more? I really like that. I love that idea. Did they do it anymore? I mean, they don't have a lot of bull rope matches, but
that was the only time they've ever used the
that's a
light.
Brilliant idea, and it pays. It's because of what happened at the end. But JBL could have won this one other time. As you guys know, yes, he won this match by hook or crook or whatever. JBL had all three touched, and then he lunged, but he actually lunged towards the rope, and he grabbed the rope instead of touching the turnbuckle. And it was about 5 minutes before the end of the match. And I'm like, why didn't you just lunge straight instead of going diagonally? Well, because you have to finish telling the story. I love this match. I really did love this match. Eddie, rest in peace. This might have been one of my favorite JBL matches. I remember a lot of his matches, but this is probably one of my favorite ones. And the blood was just enough. This was just the right storytelling to continue everything. Great match.
You know how they got the rope length for that match? I forgot to tell you this last night.
This is going to be a penis joke, isn't it?
No. They measured that guy from NXT that John likes.
They're
like, hey, just fucking measure him. That'll give us a good 4 foot, 4'2". So this match in person was fucking great. You could hear so much of what they were doing, not calling things out, but you could hear the impact. I think it was Guerrero that first clocked JBL with the cowbell.
I believe so.
At the beginning of the match. And you could fucking hear he took that shot. This was JBL's breakout match. And Eddie Guerrero made him, not that JBL wasn't good, regardless of all the other bullshit that's tagged with him. Eddie Guerrero made JBL a star in this match.
Yeah.
This was excellent. It really was. The whole story leading into it, JBL's character being from Texas but living in New York City. His intro music is the bell of the New York Stock Exchange, which is great. How did he make his money? Did they ever say, is it oil? What the hell is it? Does he just trade stocks and bonds constantly? Anybody know?
He legit is an investment type of guy.
Yeah, the on-screen thing was oil and stuff like that, but, you know, he couldn't stand Texas and them being such fucking hicks, so he went to New York. His actual fortune...
Great story.
He's like Mark said, he's a, stockbroker, trading stocks. In little known, he is one of these guys that goes and does things like climb Mount Everest and stuff like that.
Good for him.
And he does it the first time he completed Everest, he did it totally for charity and raised I don't know how many millions of dollars. He's into a lot of the children's and cancer charities and stuff like that. I believe that little backstory is that he lost brother. His brother was maybe 4 or 5 years old, lost him to cancer, and that's kind of what drives him.
You're such a dick. I can't even come up with my story that I was going to say now that I could barely climb the steps after last week's podcast.
These guys, like JBL, again, regardless of the bullying shit and stuff like that, the guys that can go through something like that and still be such a dick on film, those are what you kind of need more. They can flip both sides. They can do the real great stuff, the humanitarian stuff, but then flip the switch on camera, and they're an arrogant fucker that you want to see. Funniest thing was when Guerrero turned his fucking JBL's car into, what do they call those?
A lowrider.
Lowrider, and was bouncing up and
I got that.
Bouncing up and down with the fucking cow head decorated like a piñata and shit.
This was superb. It really was. even from the beginning, as you said, Eddie got the first shot with the bell. You know, this is JBL's match, but Eddie had a plan. He went after JBL's legs. You could see JBL making us believe that he understood this match. And Mark, to your point, the rope was shorter. So when Eddie was about to tag the third or fourth corner, JBL jumps out of the ring. Because now you got to drag this guy who's like twice your size all the way back in the ring if you want to tag the next corner. You see Eddie think to himself, it's not going to work. I might as well break the count, go out, get him, and throw him back in. Great ring psychology. Even at the end, I knew, I'm like, well, JBL bumped that corner before Eddie did. There's going to be a reversal. Chad, you were there. I don't know. Some fans believe that Eddie won, or were some fans saying JBL was in front of him with his back to the corner? Clearly he hit first.
The reaction was exactly that. It was more of silence because you're looking and they're showing the reviews before they made the announcement and everything, and you're like, oh, this could fucking go either way. JBL legitimately won that fucking match. And then they signaled and they made the announcement in the first, and they didn't show this on the network, but they showed Guerrero's face, and he had a smile. He was, in the corner, he had a smile. He was like, we did it. We fucking pulled it off.
I love that twist. I saw it as it was happening live. I'm like, oh, he hit it first. So I knew, plus we know that he had the title right after this, but I love that twist. Not seeing that match, I love that twist because we've seen everybody touching three and then somebody just falling into the other one. This one, him jumping over it to try to get it. Perfect.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Did we skip over the women's match?
Oh, unfortunately we did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, what was that? Mrs. Mark Marrow against...
Yeah,
Sable against Tori.
Sable against Tori Wilson. I told this to John, and I'm sorry to do this after that great match, but Tori Wilson, not a great wrestler, great to look at. I was never a Sable fan on any aspect. Tori looked so much better than Sable, and that's not saying much. Sable was god awful.
Yeah. Neither of Tori's shoulders were down for this pin, by the way. Neither one.
Her hair was the only thing on the ground.
One of them was higher than her leg, which was being kind of hooked. This match was god-awful. Rena, Lesnar now, I guess. I don't know, was she with Brock Lesnar at the time? Does anybody know? Does anybody care?
Nobody cares.
No, she was not with Lesnar at the time. Not just for shits and giggles.
She needs to just be thankful of the day she met Mark Marrow, who was a talented wrestler, and essentially handed her a career because I don't know where she would have gone in life had she not found professional wrestling, which then led to other things, namely Playboy and Brock Lesnar. She just wasn't any good on the mic. She couldn't cut a promo. She couldn't work in the ring. She wasn't even a good valet or manager. I don't know that there's ever been a more useless woman in the world of professional wrestling than Rena Lesnar. Why
are you not calling her Sable? You don't like
Sable? Okay, fine, Sable. A couple other things. Women's wrestling really didn't come into its own until a few years after this. This is just another prime example about how women's wrestling was a joke for so long. The guys doing commentary did a great job all night. They were picking on each other here. Michael Cole's talking about, remember when you wore fur as a Tasmaniac? Taz had like this, go fuck yourself kind of attitude about it because he knew like he's getting ribbed. And I don't think they paid attention to anything in this match. They could not have given less of a shit about what was going on. The other thing I'll mention is they were nothing more than eye candy and dick jokes. In the back you have Dupree saying, look at my French tickler. I don't know, who were those two guys? like Tony was so like, hey, stood off, forget about it. Look at my dick. Hey, it's big.
The new FBI, Little Guido and Nunzio.
Oh, God, that was so stupid. But what does she do? Who was it? I don't know who it was. It doesn't matter. It was some bimbo. She's just like,
Dawn Wilson.
basically, oh, you have a bigger schlong? I'll go with you then. The whole women's thing was just so, if you were a female watching wrestling, you had to just feel insulted. Absolutely insulted on what was a great card. The women were not even an afterthought. They were insulted as far as I'm concerned. And this match was an insult.
So the Undertaker against the Dudleys in the Crypt match.
Yeah. Thank you, Chad, because I didn't know if you were going to say something on that. These were the tag team titles that I loved, that I talked about getting and possibly we'll see. I put something up earlier this morning, a shoot interview with Paul Bear. Chad, I asked you this and you last night because I knew I had to set up to come on this morning. I said, did you know that wasn't even Paul Bear in the crypt during the live show? It wasn't him. All those facial things that they showed on the network were pre-recorded, and his face was kind of just spliced in there. They had a stunt double at the show, and he's like, I was on my way fucking home. I got my paycheck, and I was gone from WWE for a while. Go back on our Facebook page and watch it. This was something.
This was Paul Heyman being a dick, the whole kidnapping, do what we want, do the right thing, and the Undertaker just slapping the shit out of the Dudleys.
And then killing Paul Bear.
And then you're like, everybody's like, yeah, screw Heyman and screw the Dudleys, the bastards, and then Taker goes over there and flips a fucking switch that finishes the crypt off, and it's like, did I fucking miss something?
Right?
I mean, that was the reaction. Everybody was like, what the hell?
Why not just early in the match so Undertaker didn't have to take a beating for a while? Just, all right, go ahead. You win. See you later.
I didn't get that either. I thought it was a good match. The Dudleys are great, and the Undertaker still had a lot left in the tank. I didn't feel like there was anything during the course of that match that I couldn't buy. Like, as good as the Dudleys are, I feel the Undertaker could handle them for a period of time, then they would get over on him. I believe the match, great conflict with Paul Heyman standing right there. I just, at some point, I say to myself, you've given him enough warnings, Paul Heyman. You've given him enough warnings. Pull the lever. And I know he did once in a while and turned it off, but... And then I didn't buy Bubba Ray's whole, this is how we do it, let me do it, and then we'll pull the thing. I would have rather seen, at some point, maybe Paul Heyman mocking Paul Bear. His back's turned, Undertaker runs up there, punches him in the face, knocks him out for a while, so that he can't pull the lever. But to have his hand on the lever the entire time, at some point he's going to be like, you know what, fine. I'm pulling the lever and he's dead. But I still thought it was fun. It was an interesting twist at the end. I guess they did it. Guys, look at that video. Paul Bear was morbidly obese. We're all a little chubby and wish we looked better than we do, but he had serious problems. And I remember reading a story. He had lost a ton of weight. He had an operation done, but he also worked really, really hard. I don't know if maybe, unfortunately, it was a little too late, but he was in bad shape. So I can understand why he needed to be off TV for a little while to get things right. I'm just surprised that it was the Undertaker that pulled the lever. We didn't get the answer why. I guess we had to tune into SmackDown the following, would have been Thursday back in those days, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So does anybody know? Oh, the obvious, which was to get Paul Bear off of TV. Why did the Undertaker turn on him there?
I can't even remember, and I didn't even think to look back and get that. I was just, this card was just a good card, and I was like, holy shit. I remember that.
So let's give it the rankings. I'm going to start, and I'm going to say it was a solid 4. There's some stuff that brought it down. The women... Malachi, I just couldn't, and then the motorcycle Suzuki. The rest of the stuff I loved. You heard us gush about a lot of it. I was fine with the Undertaker stuff. I really was. So a solid 4.
If anybody knows the answer to my question, write to us. Really, tell us what was going on with The Undertaker and Paul Bearer and why Undertaker turned on him and pulled the lever.
Yeah, well, I'm going to
know.
call somebody out because I know she's a huge Undertaker fan. Kathy Thomas always writes to us about stuff about The Undertaker, this, that, or the other. She, I know her personally. She's a huge Undertaker fan. So, Kathy, send us an email at cancrusher69@gmail.com. Tell us what happened next because without us going back and watching that, we'd like to touch on that in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I say 5. I love this card. I really do. The women knock it down a peg. But even the guys' matches that weren't great
were good.
They were good, and they're not enough for me to knock any more off than that. So I'm going with a solid 5.
Well, I'm going to play Mark's little trick, and I'm right in between you guys at 4.5. Other than, Mrs. Marrow and the Children of the Corn dude, this was, I'll compare, and John won't get this, but with the Ring of Honor pay-per-view that we watched, this was something, holy shit, you could sit and watch and get into it, and you didn't have to have a Hogan, a Triple H, Heartbreak Kid. You didn't have to have all those humongous names just to get pops. Good action.
That's a great point, Chad. This was an awesome card with a whole lot of supporting characters and none of what you were just saying, not really a Hulk Hogan or a Rock type character, but just a great cast of supporting characters to put on a hell of a show.
And there wasn't people, and I talked to my nephew about this and asked him what he remembered, and he said, and he's not a huge wrestling fan by far, but he was like, what I remember is that nobody was bitching, oh, this was a shitty card or this was a bad card, and people were talking about it as they were leaving. People were going to get, memorabilia, and he said people were just excited after this. They weren't let down.
Imagine that. Speaking about not being let down, Chad and I, John's going to probably sit and listen, but Chad and I will talk about Friday night we watched the ROH Final Battle. And just in a summary, Chad, without breaking everything down, because you can still go on your pay-per-views or on Fight or the ROH, what the hell is it called? ROH?
It's right on ROHWrestling.com, and you can watch it off there. If you join their Honor Club, which is...
That's it, Honor Club.
Honor Club. If you join their thing, you get access to their video library, which, holy cow.
This was a good card. This was a really good card.
From top to bottom, there was not below a 3.5-star match.
I was thinking 4. Card. I was thinking 4, but all right.
There was just one match that I didn't feel... great match, top bottom. Had the Briscoes. It was missing a few guys due to COVID, most notably EC3, Bandito. But we got out of EC3 not being there. We got a Shane Taylor against Mark Briscoe match. Holy shit!
What a slobber knocker to steal that
they
from JR.
Just beat the piss out of each other. But
that was probably my favorite match of the night.
If you can go and find this, or the match that I want to just single out was Dragon Lee against Tony Deppen. Who the fuck's Tony Deppen?
Yeah.
This match was Kyle O'Reilly and
Pete
Dunne with Finn Balor-ish moves thrown in on it. And this was legitimately, they're doing these joint manipulations, and it looked, when I say horrible, it looked like painful as a mother.
Yeah.
Excellent match, and I'll say this, we're doing our awards next week and everything like that. Unless something happens, I can't even say that.
At TLC? Are you going to say that?
I was going to say, unless something happens at TLC, this match by far is the match of the year. this just barely beats out Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly to me. But this match is the match of the year. And these are two guys. One guy, I guarantee you 99% of people don't know. The other guy, Dragon Lee, 95. I know that name.
Yeah,
90% of the people don't know.
Guys, that was a great... I mean, we sat here, we watched it. It was awesome.
Mark, shut up.
I did shut up. I watched the whole thing. And the cool thing is, this is unbelievable. It was a 3-hour pay-per-view for $30. Not a 3-hour pay-per-view for $79.99.
Yeah.
Wonderfully put together. No crowd. ROH did it right. I wanted a surprise, though. With ROH just coming back, doing their thing, I thought we were going to get a little bit of a surprise. Especially, they haven't done anything since March. They've had their little shows here and there, but nothing big. I thought this was a big time for them to do something, and they didn't. That's my only, but far from taking any points away.
Given this a rating, this is a 5.
5.
Solid 5. I would even go, honestly,
5 1/4.
5.5.
Yeah. I'm bringing quarters in next year, by the way, too. 5 and a shot. 5 and a shot. How about that? Not quarters.
Great.
In a shot.
Great.
All right. When we come back, we're going to release the Crushy Award categories. We're going to have Love 'Em While We Got 'Em from Chad. Do we have something else? I thought we had one more thing. I don't know. We'll talk about it.
This is Jimmy Nuts, and you're listening to Can Crusher Podcast. Let's go nuts.
And welcome back, and Crusher Nation. It is I, the Cajun burnt one, the glorious guru, with Mark the Mark and John the Professor. We got, I think we're going to get the bad taste in our mouth right off the bat and then get it out.
Yeah, let's get the shit show out of the way. This way we can talk about things that we want to. So let's do the TLC predictions. 6 matches on the docket, and probably 4.5 too many. Tag team match for the WWE Championship, Raw Championships. New Day against the Hurt Business. Anybody?
Hurt Business. And it's their time.
Yeah, I got to go with the Hurt Business at this point. If you don't put the titles on them,
bury them.
You have buried them. Just fucking break them up.
Yeah, I agree. Hurt Business. Women's SmackDown Championship. Sasha against Carmella. I'll go first. Sasha wins because we're leading up to more with Sasha and Bayley.
Agreed. I don't see Carmella winning.
I had to go with Sasha on this one. Same reasons, Mark said. But I think this is going to lead to another Sasha Carmella match, so I think Sasha's going to cheat to win.
Roman Reigns against Kevin Owens for the Universal Championship in a TLC match.
Roman. Roman.
It's going to be a good, brutal match, but Roman.
Agreed.
There's no real conflict yet in any of these. You know what I mean? It's not even creating what-if situations among any of us. We're just that's who wins.
That's because it is. I hate to say this. December is their worst pay-per-view.
It is.
Because they're resetting in Royal Rumble. This is just we need some more buys. Raw Women's Championship, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler against Asuka and To Be Determined. First, who's the To Be Determined? John, this is also a category for the week.
I don't know, I'll go last if you don't mind.
If you say fucking Charlotte Flair, I'm going to beat you.
I was thinking that, but I didn't want to go that direction because you're going to get upset with me. But fine, I'll say Charlotte. We haven't seen her in a while.
This is Charlotte's return.
Thank you.
They do not win the belts. Charlotte turns on Asuka, which sets up Charlotte and Asuka.
I'm saying it's going to be Mandy Rose.
Oh, okay.
With her, and they still don't win the titles. So, it doesn't matter. Firefly Inferno match. Bray Wyatt.
Like a bug zap? Like they have to put their guy into a bug zapper?
They have 16 bug zappers around the ring.
Oh.
And you have to, you know how bug zappers have mesh.
Yeah.
That only a bug, you couldn't stick your finger in them. So you have to kind of manipulate your finger in to touch that light. I have no fucking clue what this is. Bray Wyatt wins. I do not even want to watch this tonight, but I'm gonna.
This is so stupid. Randy Orton.
I'm going to go with John. I think Randy Orton, and he's going to use Alexa to distract. I know what never mind. He's going to use Alexa to distract the Fiend, and he's going to not push him into the fire. He's going to pull him into it, thus winning the match.
Okay. Exciteness all over me.
Exciteness.
Drew McIntyre, AJ Styles in another TLC match because they couldn't get creative and just have a ladder match or just a tables match or a chairs match. They have to have 2 TLC matches. Sorry, AJ's not winning this. Anybody?
I was going to say AJ Styles. I'll stick with that.
I'm going with AJ on this one.
Wow.
I think there is. I think there is. You have the Miz factor. You have Ronald McDonald coming back after AJ beat him up this week.
Who?
Fire Pants.
Oh, Sheamus.
Yeah, Fireface.
Fucking who the hell Ronald McDonald is? You got the dog. You got the dogs excited because they thought they're going to McDonald's now to get cheeseburgers.
I think AJ wins this. I don't think this is going to be a long thing, but I think they're going to have AJ win this one.
Okay. All right. There's the TLC predictions. Thank God that's over with. Let's announce the categories, and we've had them written down for about 2 weeks, but we like to make you guys wait. So next week, is the Crushy Awards. We will brief, and I'm saying we will brief wrestling next week. If anything major happens, we'll cover the pay-per-view, and then a note from each show. We won't spend much time on them, and then we'll get right to the Crushies. So, the categories. If you guys want to send in your nominations and everything this week, awesome. Send them in to cancrusher69@gmail.com. Maybe I'll read some of them off. Maybe I'll tell you, go fuck yourself, Pat Lupino. Something like that. Match of the year for the men and the women. Male of the year. Female of the year. Tag team of the year. Event of the year. Rookie of the year. Promo of the year. Feud of the year. Return of the year. Promotion of the year. A tough one. Manager of the year. You have to dig deep for that one.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Most hated male and female. And then, the surprise one that these two don't know about, I added best entrance of the year. Have it be, and it's across the board. It's not going to be male or female, just best entrance that we've seen of the year. And then, of course, we're going to have our 2021 predictions. And then at the end of the show, Chad's going to, we'll pay homage to the wrestlers that have passed away. I couldn't think of the word past. Yeah. Have passed away this year and pay our respects. So, yeah, that's it for those.
And it's 3 in each category. I think last year we did 5, but this year we're just doing like 2 runners-up.
A hard 3.
Yeah.
No 17 honorable mentions.
Yep.
A hard 3. So, however you want to do it, yes, that's what I'm gonna stick with. You guys just want to send some in, that'd be awesome. So, guys, Chad, do you have anything else?
Oh, we have the love them while you have.
Oh, yeah.
And he said have, Mark, not got.
Got him.
Yeah, see? Proper English, darn it.
That's right.
Yeah, proper my ass. Go ahead.
This one we've been having fun where we've had somebody that there was really hard to say something good about. You had to think about, and then, an easy one like the Sheik. I I'm going right back to the hard shit. That makes it more fun. New Jack.
First of all, John's not going to be able to do anything because he hated ECW.
Yeah.
But he did see the dark side of the ring, and I'm sure you could pull something.
Holy shit. Go ahead, Mark. What I know of the guy, I don't even like the guy. I hardly watched his matches. What I've seen, I didn't like. And then what I know about the guy, I don't like. But go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, this is tough. This is almost he's alive type of deal thing. Because I liked ECW, but his matches were all the same. And I'll get to love him while we got him, but his matches were all the same. Brought shit out, beat the shit out, had his music playing the whole time, left. He tried killing people. Oh man. I'll say this. My mother's always told me to say, if you got nothing good to say, if you
can't say something good about him at all.
Yeah.
But you can't do that here.
I know. But I'm just saying that my mother would say that. He brought violence into ECW that attracted those that like that kind of wrestling, have it be like the CZW or the deathmatch things, and he simmered it down a little bit for the broader fan base, and he made money, and he was an attraction for ECW. That's it.
Yeah, that's well said. He brought a sense of believability to what he was doing. He made a go of it. Good for him.
Go ahead, fucker.
you win, Chad.
Yeah. This one, I'm going to say I thought long and hard about this, and I knew I would have you two stumped about this, and I was like, I can stump the shit out of them, but if I don't come back with something good about him, it's all for nothing. There's one thing I can say good about this guy. His mic skills. You want to talk about an interview. You want to talk about how to piss anybody off in any area that they went to, whether it's the city of brotherly love, whether it's down in Virginia, whether it's out in Kentucky. He could rile the people up. Some he would go a little more to the racist side, but he was some he would go there, but he could rile up a crowd. He was a throwback to when, back in the 70s, 60s, 70s, very early 80s, when fans wanted to fucking kill somebody. That's what New Jack was. Not saying comparing him to the greats of then, but just the heat that he could get.
Yeah, he did get, I'll say that then to piggyback you. He was known for that white heat that Ricky Morton always talks about when there's that level. You feel it, you feel it, you feel it. And then Ricky Morton said one time, we got to get these boys out of the ring because the crowd's going to turn. New Jack had that white heat. That silent, but holy fuck, here comes the crowd heat. Get them out of the ring now in save face. So, I guess since John, we have to cheers them.
Yeah.
Love them while we got them.
Cheers to being here.
Cheers to being here, New Jack. Wow.
Speaking of cheers, and you said you piggybacked what Chad said. I don't know if you guys have heard of, can I do a plug for Piggyback Whiskey?
Yeah.
We used to talk drinks once in a while on this show, and I was at the liquor store yesterday. I want to try something new. I had never heard of Piggyback Whiskey. It's a rye. It's my favorite.
Really?
It is just, it's so smooth and so good. You can do shots of it and not even
throw up all over a hotel room in New York?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds like something. Maybe we'll get some of that because with next week's being the Crushy Awards, it is the perfect show to have multiple beverages and bring back that mark. Have it, well, I can drink anything. So, piggyback whiskey, huh?
It's $50 for a bottle. I did a shot of it straight, sipped it, and it was fantastic. I did one on ice, and then I did one on ice with like a splash of 7-Up to see how it mixes. All of it was so good. Yeah. Whistle Pig is the name of the company, and Piggyback Rye is the name of the whiskey itself. It's really good.
We'll have some in studio for next week, along with other drinks. I'm excited. Well, maybe I'll just do that, because if I mix, I get way out of hand. So
you might piss on the fucking couch or something.
Again.
Or hit puberty again.
All right, guys. This is our Christmas edition. So, first and foremost, I want to wish all the Can Crusher Nation for a wonderful year. Merry Christmas. Our spotlight is already pre-recorded, so there's no Christmas love or anything in that because it's been recorded for a couple weeks. It's coming out. You'll hear an IWC alum come on the show, and we have that show already pre-recorded. So, guys, I love Can Crushers. Thank you for a wonderful year. We can touch on this more next week with love for New Year's. But I hope you guys have a great Christmas. John and Chad, I'm sure I'll talk to you guys by Christmas, but I love you guys, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, Mark, and likewise, Merry Christmas to everyone who listens to the show and likes us or hates us. Merry Christmas. Whatever you celebrate, enjoy the holiday season. Just a quick story, guys, to let you know kind of how real things can get in a hurry. My son's school during COVID has been giving out food every Wednesday. Doesn't matter your income level. You can go pick up whatever you need. And, I've struggled with, do we pick it up? Do we leave it for people who really need it? And my wife said, if we don't get, this is one of the, not to get political, but you have programs, and I understand if they're not utilized, you need to make cuts. But there are people who need help, and we make cuts sometimes where we don't need to make cuts. In other words, if we don't utilize it, it gets cut. So the idea is go get the food even if you don't need it, and then give it to somebody else who may need it. Well, a lady came to pick up some things at our house, and this is a killer, guys. She said it was her son's Christmas present, and that just was hard to digest. So when my son played Madden, I said, I don't want you to feel guilty about what you have, but be thankful for what you have. Because there's a lady picking up food that will be her son's Christmas present. There are real people suffering out there, guys. So just be thankful. Whatever it is you have, just be thankful for it now and into next year.
I'll echo you guys to the Can Crusher Nation. Thank you for everything. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here. If you like us, absolutely great. If you don't like us, fuck off. On that, and I want to turn this to kind of the sentiment that John has. Be thankful. This year sucked. This year makes Kenny Omega look like a fucking 5-star wrestler.
Even when you're trying to be nice, you're an asshole.
But today, very hard day for me. This is 7 years ago. My father passed away. I found him in the house, deceased. Christmas wasn't that year. I could have cared less about Christmas. But I'll tell you, with having friends far and near, family, with having my little one who was born 6 months afterwards, it really makes you think about, what's important in life. We all care about each other here at this podcast that's involved in this. But bottom line is, your family, your friends, your loved ones, be thankful for what you have. and we'll get through this stuff. We'll be back to normal. Hopefully soon. We'll be doing the things that we love, but things could be better, but things could be a hell of a lot worse. And just last statement, fuck you, Jock Sampson.
Guys, reach out and hug your family as much. If it's a cat, a dog, a bird, whatever you have, give them the love too. Happy holidays. We love you here at Can Crushers. And remember, John, just because you're trash,
it doesn't mean you can't do great things.
It's called
really?
Go ahead.
Really?
No, that's all right, John. Go ahead. Take
You're going to
take
do
it
the
all.
whole thing?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No. We'll do this over. Remember,
Go ahead.
guys, just because you just need to hug your family a little bit more. Oh, man, just remember, John, just because you're a big pile of fucking trash
doesn't mean you can't do great things.
It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.
Or John Padlano.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas!